Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It is Thursday, which means it's time for the Cannabis Events Talk Show. I'm your host, Adelia Carrillo, and this is brought to you by eventhi.io. So, the Cannabis Events Talk Show covers all about cannabis events, experiences, and tourism. We keep you updated on the hottest topics from current news, trends, interviews with our special guests each week, to marketing tips, and so much more. Now, for those that are just joining us, the run of show goes a little bit like this. We invite our special guests to join us on stage. We have a more interview-focused conversation for you to really learn and get to know the special guest, also gain industry insights and tips. Then we talk about one article of the week that is also in the specific topics of tourism, hospitality, cannabis lounges, or cannabis events. And then we end with just some final announcements for the week. Now, for those that, again, are tuning in, feel free to join the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know if you have any questions for our special guests or just for the overall conversations as a whole. Now, with that being said, I always get excited for all my guests, but this guest is someone who is near and dear to my heart. She's someone that I look up to, who motivates me, inspires me, and has honestly been there at times when I did not know how to move forward with business. So I am super excited to introduce you to this week's guest, Mskindness Ramirez. Award-winning master educator and cannabis industry veteran, Mskindness B. Ramirez leads with both her given name and a unique calling. Empowered with over 20 years experience in the public education sector and a passionate desire to heal her community, Mskindness lends her skills to various projects in and around the cannabis space. Founded in 2015, she is the CEO of Club Kindness, a direct-to-consumer education platform and production company, and founder of Our Kind, a line of infused hair and body products designed to promote radical self-care through kinship. Mskindness began her authorship journey with a children's book called The Roots Family's Special Garden, written by demystifying the plant medicine in a family-friendly and comprehensive way while sparkling candid conversations among generations everywhere. She is also has a role as the executive board president of This Is Jane Project. Ramirez supports women and non-binary trauma survivors who get to gain access to plant medicine and valuable programming to foster healing. She serves as adjacent faculty for the Los Angeles Community College District, the Harrington Institute for Cannabis Education, and the Cleveland School of Cannabis. She is a wife, mother, and multi-passionate businesswoman, to say the least, who remains gracefully balanced through her mindfulness training and daily meditation practice. So with that being said, thank you for joining us, Mskindness.
I'm so happy to be here. Hi, Adelia.
As always, it's a special honor to speak with you, and I'm just so excited to hear what you have to share with us today. Let's go straight into the questions. So, as a teacher at heart, education has obviously been a driver for you and your career. What was that moment when you knew you wanted to begin educating specifically about cannabis?
That's an easy one. I was born to be a teacher. Let me just put that out there in the world. I was that 2-3-year-old who was telling all my cousins to line up. I'm going to be the teacher. Everybody sit down. And so I already knew that I was born to facilitate conversations that inspired learning. That's just in me. I ask a lot of questions. If there's something I don't know, I want to know. And it's a unique skill. When I knew I was going to use it in cannabis, it was after I fell down. So I injured myself in 2012. I was 26 weeks pregnant, and it caused a severe condition in my pelvis. I then went to cannabis to cure my body and interfaced with a system that does not support cannabis use, especially among people of color and, of course, pregnant women. It's frowned upon, right? That's due to a whole ton of lack of education. And that was the moment after those experiences that I figured out that I needed to use my skills in this space. I needed to, essentially, I left the classroom. I stopped teaching high school that year and started Club Kindness and decided I was going to teach other women how to navigate what I had just encountered.
Wow. Wow. Well, again, thank you for sharing that and diving more into, what brought you to that. I've heard, you've shared this with me before.
Yeah.
And so, just hearing it though, I think it is important to always speak and share about that, because there are other women who do feel alone, especially if they are pregnant or going through something similar. Now with that, with Club Kindness, you also have been hosting events for years, which even led to you opening up a lounge and then now offering an event space for cannabis events. Why is providing a space for cannabis events important to you?
Oh, so I think, when I first kindness, it was the easiest way to reach people, right? When we think of an event, it is this occurrence. It's something that happens. But when you uniquely plan events where people come together, there needs to be intention behind it, because now you've got a large audience, you've got a community that you can activate. And I think when they're together, there's a lot more power in that. So when I first started Club Kindness, which we still do, these wonderful things called kind socials. And it was just me coming into a person's home. They might have invited their friends and family. It was an organized curriculum, like in true teacher style, where everyone had like these little cards and they would read the data and we would go through it and I would introduce products. I found that I really liked having that audience that was so eager to learn, so thirsty for the information around cannabis, a true desire to heal themselves, right? They had heard these things about the plant. They didn't know the legality. And this is 2014, 2015, right? So in California. So we're still very new in this market, pre-64, adult use cannabis. And it was just a really special way to bring people together. I quickly outgrew that, right? I want access to more people. And so Casey and I were talking one day and we got this opportunity to open the first cannabis lounge in California. Let me say that, the Alchemy Lounge in downtown LA. Great location, right by the convention center. It was like a no-brainer, right? We're going to do this and we're going to bring it to more people. Through that membership model, I saw how much more we could do with larger communities, bringing in these small brands, giving them an opportunity to scale through these accessible events. And all of our events included education. You were not coming to just party or sesh. You were going to learn about what was going on too. So that's always been really important. Roger Stone came to the lounge. We got a bunch of publicity I didn't really want. I started to get nervous. I mentioned I'm a mother. I was like, let's pull back from this. I'm driving home at 2, 3 in the morning after these cannabis events. It feels very unsafe. And my house was like, it's this beautiful place where I could do events. And that's how the Kind Casa was born. It started mainly during the pandemic because we were inside the house. And I thought, like, how do we turn this into an activation space that's intimate, safe? Again, it's all about providing access. When I was a small brand, I only had like $200 to do stuff. I didn't have $5,000 to be at an event. Yeah. So it was really important to me to continue that and build that legacy through what I had. I have this beautiful home and I can use it for these things, and my family is on board with it. And so why not?
I love that. Now, what kind of events specifically would you, let's say it's not one of your events, if somebody was interested in using your space, do you have specific events you focus on, or does it just go back to the education?
It's always about the type of energy that wants to come into my home, because we do live here. So we sage before, we sage after, but truly it's about the intention of the human. We've had birthday parties here, beautiful families where their families met for the first time at their 1-year-old's birthday party. I couldn't say no to them, right? It was this beautiful color that didn't have a space of their own to do this. We've had cannabis events, medicine, where it's Shaolin, yoga, cannabis. We've had Sista Sesh here, where it's Black and brown ladies coming together just to sesh and smoke weed. But again, in the middle of that, there is a program break where we learn something. We hum together. We meditate together. We have a healing circle. We do things that to positivity and reinvestment in ourselves and in our community. So really come to the Kind Casa. That's my only ask, that it be conscious, that it not just be about raging in our house. Yeah.
Good. Now, as you mentioned, you launched Sista Sesh, and you actually just had one this past weekend. Let's
Yeah,
dive
that's
into more.
Sista Sesh, Adelia. Sista Sesh.
Sista Sesh. Hey, I'm still trying to learn how to speak after the. I'm like, can I even say the word? No, but Sista Sesh, yes. Now you just had one this past weekend. Let's talk about that first, and then I want to go backwards and talk more about the vision and focus around the event. But how did it go? It was on the beach. It was a summer splash event.
So dope. It was so dope. We had to push it back a month because that's what happens with events, right? Especially in the cannabis space. I have learned, and you know this with Event High, that people wait till the very last minute to buy tickets because they're not sure what they're going to do that weekend. Obviously, with COVID now, we're just more cautious about where we're traveling and who we're going to be around. So we did have to wait a month, but I'm so glad we did because it met this beautiful beach location. Shout out to Nicole East for giving us her home, her beachfront condo at no cost for these women of color to come together and commune in the way that we did, right in front of the water. It was hot AF, but it was lovely because we were shaded and we did have a little ocean breeze, and we had Nicole's home to go in and out of to get food. It was just amazing. It was small. We had about 20 women, but what that allowed me to do was and do this intentional healing. And I got to tell you something really cool. Can I tell you what happened?
Yeah, of course.
I had planned at 4:30. There's always a midday cool down. We call it at a Sista Sesh. I had planned for us to do a healing circle. I was like, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to sit these ladies down and we're all going to release to the sand, into the ocean. And 4:30 came and went because some people came later and food and they were eating and I didn't want to stop it. So around 5:30, I go to sit down to eat. Finally, I got a minute. And naturally, it was crazy. All of these women just start to come and sit down and make a circle around me. I didn't say a word. I didn't ask them to. I just sat down to eat.
Yeah.
They came and sat around me and I looked up and I said, you all have asked for this healing circle. Are you ready? And they were like, yeah, I didn't even know. Like, I don't pre-tell what I'm going to do at 4:30. So no one knew. It was amazing. Every woman cried. Of course. I'm still receiving messages of thank you. Thank you for making us feel so safe. I didn't even know what to expect. I can't wait till the next Sista Sesh. What a beautiful community you've created. Just magical. Just magical. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. And those are those things like the intimate, like I know, some event organizers and maybe in the beginning as event organizers, we all think we need as many people as possible to make it be a success. I find so much value in those more intimate events. Like I get to talk to everyone. I get to have, more meaningful conversations instead of a quick, hi, bye. Okay, I'm going to go down to this person. It's so it is very impactful with those more intimate events. 20 is a great event.
Yeah, 20 is a wonderful number because you're right. I know everyone's name. Like we all followed each other that day. We've all connected. One young woman works at Cal State Northridge, not in the cannabis industry. Her and I are talking about doing events between my community college district and CSUN. I mean, look what just came of it. She works with young Latina women at Cal State Northridge. I'm like, girl, we need to be friends. I mean, I've got messages in my DM since because I had conversations that day about my faith and my practice. Yeah. And one young woman said, let me know when we can go to temple together. I'm really interested in studying Buddhism. I mean, this is at a Sesh event, right? Exactly. So there's so much we can do when we bring the right people together with the right intention. That's why I love events.
Yes, exactly. Now, on top of that, you are also a part of This Is Jane Project, and there is an important fundraising gala coming up, right?
Yeah, let's get that shout out real big out here, y'all. Okay, so I am the executive board president of This Is Jane Project. This is such an important cause and mission. What we do is help women and non-binary trauma survivors. We uplift them, we have healing programs, and we're uniquely positioned because of SB 34 in California, Compassionate Care. We help our Janes procure access to cannabis medication to foster healing. This is really special. And we have a new program that we're launching called Surviving on the Outside. I'm really passionate to chair this program. We're going to be helping women and non-binary people who are post-incarceration re-enter the workforce, whether it be in the cannabis industry or elsewhere, prepare them with those skills. We're going to be offering expungement in collaboration with our sister organizations like the Social Impact Center. This is a really big deal. And our inaugural gala is September 10th. We're doing it in Venice, California. Beautiful formal gala and art show. Some amazing artists have donated. I'm super excited. This is an opportunity for you to give back, for you to contribute to a 501c3. Your donations are tax deductible, but also freaking help people, okay? Like, you get to go to a party, you get a dope ass VIP bag, you get to buy some art, and you get to feel good about your reinvestment into the communities all around you. I need to tell you that 1 in 4 women have experienced some sort of trauma. Okay. And about half of them have experienced severe trauma, primarily sexual. Mm-hmm. The stats on non-binary people, they don't exist because they underreport for obvious reasons. And so this work, I'm literally about to tear up right now. This work is so freaking important. And there are not a lot of organizations doing it, specifically focused on women who are dealing with trauma that aren't veterans. Okay, so we think of PTSD as like only a military thing. But so many of us experience childhood trauma, violence, institutional trauma, military trauma, right? Gosh, like the list goes on and on. And so this is one, a call to action to any Jane, any woman or non-binary person who needs our support. This is janeproject.com. And 2, anyone who has a penny to give it, because we need it.
Well, and there's also and there's also a couple opportunities for brands as well to get involved. I know there was a drink sponsor call to action. What other specific, possible vendors would help with this event?
Yeah, let's tell it. Listen, we want anything and everything from food to wine, beer. We are looking specifically for that right now because we need a bar sponsor, bag sponsors, individuals who are entrepreneurs who want to be in the program, who want to be in the annual report, have this opportunity for us to share who you are at the event, beyond the event, and leading up to the event. Gosh, we need cash, y'all. We need cash. So I know in the cannabis industry, right, there's 280E tax law that prevents any write-offs of things like this. So if you're a licensed entity, you can't. But if you're an ancillary brand, labs, we need you. And if you're a cannabis brand and you have that extra capital to get this, it's just something that you should be doing because it's altruistic, because it's the right thing, because it supports a community that feeds your business. And yeah, there's definitely lots of opportunity. I would say if you can contact me for that. I'm in straight fundraising mode right now. And you can contact Adelia. You can reach out directly to the project. We definitely need drink sponsors on the alcohol side, but we'd really love a cannabis drink company to come to the table for the mocktail bar.
There we go. We'll start tagging some cannabis brands to this replay for sure. Now, I'm excited for that. We're going to try to make it out to I know it's harder. I know. Drive like I'm all the way in Arizona and it's not even that far. It's literally, it could be a bad day in traffic coming up from San Diego to LA. It's just a little bit longer.
That's the truth, right? I think people who like live in LA, it's like I'll be there in 2.5 hours. Like that's it. Like that's my
Now, I know we've kind of kept bringing it up throughout this conversation, but what is, why do you think events are important for the industry?
Yeah. I'll go back to that point I was making about how, events are not just this occurrence, especially when we sit to plan to bring people together. That means that we are now going to have access to this larger group. And what happens in groups is they start to think alike when they come together. Naturally, their DNA, they start touching, their frequency aligns, and they start wanting to do the same thing. So it's so important, especially in cannabis, right? Because we are trying to do things forward. It's still Schedule 1, right? We need to push things forward like law, policy changes. 2, we still have millions of people sitting in prison for a drug that we are out here capitalizing on and monetizing. And 3, we have a suffering population that needs this plant to heal, frankly, who are cannabinoid deficient, who need access to the medicine, who need affordable access to the medicine. And we can do that through events because it's social events are what everybody loves. People love to come together, whether you're an introvert, an extrovert, everybody needs each other. So in cannabis, when we do that, we can literally take that group think that happens naturally and turn it into a movement. I mean, I can activate a room full of people to vote, to sign up for a change.org, to buy a raffle ticket that reinvests in This Is Jane Project or the Crown Impact Fund, right? In that moment, I can get this whole group to take its energy and impact real change. And so I'm really passionate about impact-driven events. What are you doing when you bring these people together? How are you activating them for change?
Mm-hmm. Well, and one thing to top in on that is, even sessions can incorporate these things. They just need to have that extra intention behind it. Like all these events can educate in some way if they just put that extra thought into it. It's possible for any type of event.
It really is. I mean, sessions are the perfect way to just kind of like, just do a raffle, right? And the proceeds from this raffle go to this thing. And the best way to keep any event in order is to have an effective MC, right? Is to have an effective hostess or host of your events. They keep the program flowing. They remind everybody why they're there. People like me, because I'm really good at that. We center the room when we meet. We bring it back. All eyes on me. Let's focus. That is the way. And then, having an event like Blunt Brunch, which is amazing, y'all. Blunt Brunch. Shout out to Delia and Parisa. These concierges, right? You need people who are strategically aligned to keep the flow going, to remind their guests why they're there and encourage them to do things like, did you get into the raffle yet? Did you station and see? Did you notice this activation over there? That's how you keep the flow going. But yeah, Sesh can teach people.
Yes, exactly. And I love that you mentioned that, like having an MC or host, because you're right. That is something that both Priest and I just recently learned, as event organizers ourselves outside of my role with Event High, doing all the things to make this event come to fruition. It's a lot. And trying to bring people in, trying to remember all those things, having an MC like Mskindness will be in very soon in Vegas. It does bring the event together, and we're very excited to see our own changes happen, bringing in Mskindness as a host for our event as well. So this will be good.
I'm very excited about that. I love that so much.
Right? I can't wait. Now, the one last question before we go into the article is, what is the best piece of advice that you would share with another event organizer looking to host a cannabis event?
The best piece of advice I would say is to sit down first with yourself. This is always going to be my advice on anything you ask me. And ask yourself, what is the purpose? Why are you doing this? What to achieve? Who are you trying to reach? Because I think a lot of times we're like, I'm going to throw an event. I just want to do this. And I just think it'll be cool. Okay, well, who are you trying to reach? What do you want to do with it? What's the outcome? What are your goals? That's when you can then walk it back from this big vision to this is what's reasonable to charge because this is a community I'm trying to reach. The nations that would appeal to this community. I need to be inclusive if I'm trying to invite everyone. Or this is focused on women. So that means I need to be thinking about what are the things that women really want. And then after you ask yourself, what's my purpose of this event? It is to then go to the community and ask that community what they need. And we skip over that. We skip over like the surveys, the pre-requests, like sign up for interest and tell us a little bit about yourself, right? Obviously we get from that and it allows us to better serve our community. But if the intention is to find out what they really want, then you can't help but have a successful event because they already told you. So you're going to give them exactly what they want.
I love that. And I was going to actually say it, but you already said it with the post surveys. You can always come back to that question and ask yourself multiple times. Our events always reiterated, change throughout the whole process. So I think that's so valuable. And like you said, those surveys, I need to start implementing those.
You know that, right? We lose that because we're like, oh, it was so great. Everybody told me it was so great. But the surveys give you the details, right?
Yep. Yeah. What did they really think was so great about it? And then too, like you said, people will be even more comfortable to say maybe, little advice. Monique,
you don't want to tell her face that they didn't really like that part of the event, but they'll do it in an anonymous survey.
Yeah. They can tell me. I'm not going to. So Monique, she was agreeing. She really loved the host idea. Having someone to guide the experience is really essential, especially for new cannabis consumers and sometimes even more experienced community members. So
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, no, 100%. And hi, Monique. I miss you too. It's so important because, you know, I like that she said experienced cannabis consumers, because listen, the newbies already know they're newbies. They're like, I don't know. Can you tell me? Thank you for being so knowledgeable and patient. Those are my favorites, right? But the experienced ones, I love them too, because they are freaking know-it-alls. Like, oh, I've been smoking for 20 years. I already know. Okay, well, have you tried a level pro tab? Okay, let me see you on the floor in a minute. You know what I mean? Like, people, I love how they think they know because of these one experience or two experiences they had. But they're my favorites too, because you get an opportunity to like challenge them and ask them, you know, about their experiences, and then find the areas that you know they haven't experienced, meet them, really educate and teach. So I like all types of people. I actually like people. That's something that I've been kind of like said out loud lately. I really like people. A lot of people are like, oh my God, people suck. Humans this, humans that. I actually really like us. I really like us. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. Monique said hi. She said hi back, and she said, love you all.
Love
Monique,
you
we
too.
feel the same. Yes, love you too. Now, we're going to transition into the article component. So, Ms. Kindness, I'm going to go and read a short overview of an article from this week, and then just give your feedback and thoughts about it. We'll chit chat a little bit about it before the end of the show.
Sounds good.
Cool. So today's article is called "A Massive Weed Museum is Opening in Soho This Fall." So former Las Vegas club owner Robert Frey just signed a 10-year lease at 427 Broadway by Howard Street in Soho, according to The Real Deal. Now, Frey is the former owner of Vegas Pure Nightclub and the Pussycat Dolls. He more recently became the owner of a 50,000 square foot cannabis production facility and owned the city Zen's Leaf Dispensary. However, he has since exited that venture following a lawsuit with another former partner, according to the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Now, the House of Cannabis, or THC NYC for short, is Robert Frey's project to turn a sprawling 30,000 square foot space into an immersive museum that will explore the history of cannabis and spotlight the creative arts and culture it has influenced throughout the decades. Now, some of you might remember the Stone Age pop-up last year. This has a similar mission. They are going to be looking at bringing high-tech design elements like LED light shows, potential 4D aspects, and much more. The top floor is actually going to be a event space where lectures about cannabis programs and specifically social justice events will be held. They are looking to have this built out by the fall, is what their hopeful goal is. And they will not be selling cannabis or offering any sort of cannabis on the premises. They are just going to be focused around the history and social impact and education for their museum. Now, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think of just like this whole approach? Do you think a museum is something that can be sustainable long term? Like, what did you think about it?
Let's see. How much time do we have? Let me turn over this hourglass right here. How much time do we have? How much time? No. I was waiting to use that prop, right? Okay. Right? So I think in theory, it sounds amazing. I immediately have some questions that come up for me. Who is the advisory board? Who is a leadership team? Will it be inclusive? I don't want to hear from another white man about my history. I don't. Yeah. I want to know that if you're going to bring this museum to the people, which I think a museum is a brilliant idea, and I do think it can sustain if there is potentially a rolling activation, right? So you've got this consistent history that needs to be accurate and inclusive and informed by the right advisory board and leadership team. And then you can have like these wonderful rolling activations that are reflecting current cannabis times or current social era, right? I think that's beautiful because that brings people back who've already been there. And then it's a tourist destination for those coming through. The concept of putting an event space on the top is a no-brainer. You should absolutely do that with this much square footage. But the types of events that you allow in that space, right? We talked about that earlier. Like, who do I allow to come into my space and throw an event here? that should be thought about in the same manner as this inclusivity, right? I love social equity. I think it's a buzzword. What does that really mean? What do you really intend to do? And those are some questions that come up for me without judging it. I just have those questions.
And those are valid.
And I imagine that as more comes out, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll stay tuned and keep you all updated on this new cannabis museum. And with that being said, Ms. Kindness, any final words, any call to actions before we let you go?
Thank you for this, Adelia, for providing this platform consistently, always very thoughtful. Back when I first met you many, many years ago, this intention that you bring to the space and to our community has only broadened and grown into a larger fire and impacted more and more people. And I just can't wait to see where Event High and Blunt Brunch and you go. But the call to action I have is really for anybody who's throwing an event, please don't throw an event in the cannabis space without some sort of community and reinvestment attached to it. Just please don't, please. If you're going to throw an event in the cannabis space, attach a reinvestment component to it. It's just so important. And naturally, my call to action is for you to support This Is Jane Project. Our gala, again, is September 10th in Venice, iSpire building. Shout out to iSpire for donating this beautiful space to us that's overlooking Abbot Kinney. For tickets are $100, I think $125 maybe, tax deductible. Come enjoy dinner that is going to be prepared by Chef Andrea Drummer. So we're bringing out the big dogs for this one, and we need your support. That's it.
Yeah, well, that's a great call to action, and we'll continue to do our part over here at Event High and get the word out. And just thank you as well. Thank you for just being such an amazing person, friend, leader, all the things. It's really great. And I'm honored to be able to work with you more, leading to Vegas. We'll be in Vegas together.
I can't wait. Also, you know what? This is such a perfectly timed interview because I just got the text that my weed delivery is outside.
There we go. Well, thank you again, Ms. Kindness. Enjoy. Go get your pickup, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Adele.
All right, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in for this week's Cannabis Events Talk Show. Now, as usual, we highlight one event of the week, and this week's event is called the Canniversary 2022. Canniversary is hosting its 7th year anniversary. The Canna Spa is a unique experience that introduces alternative spa services performed by licensed professionals who are knowledgeable in the use of cannabis-infused products. Some of the services that are provided are facials, manicures, and body massages while using cannabis-infused oils and ointments. This event is hosted by Culinary and Cannabis, and they are going to have a variety of activities included, from a poolside 20-minute massage, DJ live performance, taco bars, cannabis cocktails, infused ice cream, and so much more. If you are interested in learning more about this event, go to eventhi.io. And again, the name is Canniversary 2022. Now, with that being said, thank you as usual for joining us this week, and stay safe, stay healthy, stay high. Bye.